Hello, everyone. I hope you're doing well. As promised, I'd like to start to do a few more live communications over the course of this year. And I thought the first one would be really great if we talked about something that comes up in a lot of my coaching and one on one sessions with people, which is what is reincarnation, looking and calling in a soulmate, what is a twin flame. And I thought maybe today we could just talk about those three different things, which are all interrelated and interconnected. And perhaps in future videos, we can get a little bit deeper into that. But to get started, I want to start at the very beginning here because I think we have to, first of all, understand that reincarnation is a part of this. And I want to basically make sure that everybody understands that or understands that to talk about twin flames and soulmates, there has to be at least either an understanding of or an agreement that reincarnation exists. And the interesting thing is, I wasn't always, personally anyway, a believer of reincarnation until I had a spiritual awakening and until I started to see parts of my past lives, and I started to understand then the relationships and the complexities in the relationships and why they were coming up at that point in my life. And it was a great blessing actually, because you realize that everybody around you you've had past karma with usually and past lives with. And this life is really like a classroom. It's an opportunity to resolve karma, to learn lessons, to help people. And really, ultimately, it's your own soul's evolution. We think that it's about other people or it's about getting the acceptance of other people, but this entire journey, it's all for you. And that's the cool thing. And when we take the focus off of finding a soulmate, finding a twin flame, making a lot of money or being very successful, then we actually get much closer to what we came here for, which was to become a better soul, become more enlightened, to gain knowledge, to spread love. And so the more we understand that each life is a gift, each moment is a gift, and when we're sort of fully in that moment, that's when we call in all of these special relationships that I get asked a lot about in one-on-one readings. So again, reincarnation. Basically, we live many, many lives. We come back as many types of people, different walks of life, many different genders, different types of employment or unemployment, and we basically want to experience everything from A to Z, all of the different things that life has to offer. So what then, or how does a soulmate and a twin flame play into this? Simply put, soulmate, and this is where I think there's a big misunderstanding. Soulmate is anyone that you have karma with, or anyone that you've spent a past life with. And a twin flame usually has to do with higher work. It's not just about connecting with someone that you've known before. It's connecting with a higher piece of yourself or a soul or entity with whom you're going to do great things on the planet. And you're going to experience great things together. So it's usually at the end of your soul's evolution or before ascension that sort of thing starts to come in. And because this is a big waking up time for everybody, that's why we're hearing more about twin flames. But there's a lot of misunderstanding, and if you Google this, you're going to see like 5 or 6 different definitions for twin flame, and I think we're just now coming to understand what this is. So this is my understanding of it through my own intuition, through my own experience, and a conversation hopefully for all of us to share, ask questions, and I guess get a little closer to maybe not focusing so much on why you haven't found this in your life, because a lot of questions are like, when am I going to find my soulmate? So let's start first with soulmate. From what I understand and from what I can see in my own intuition, my own recollection, we reincarnate in a collection of souls. That you can call it like a galaxy or a soul group or soul cluster. And each lifetime, it's the same group of people that we have opportunities to share lessons with. It's a core group anyway. We have opportunities just like if you think of space. There's comets or stellar objects that can sometimes come into an orbit that they didn't intend to come into, or they decide to leave. And so we can absolutely cluster or decluster from our group when we're ready, or we move or outgrow that group. And so that happens. But generally speaking, you will see the same people from life to life to life. At the beginning, when we were all sort of starting out, we made agreements with one another to be teachers. And somewhere along the way, some of that got lost and there was confusion about it. But so a soulmate, anyway, it can be your sister, your brother, your mother, a dog, a pet, a cat. It can also be a teacher in your life. It doesn't have to be a love connection. And so that's usually recognizable when you meet someone, say it's a friend, for instance, and you just get this feeling, gosh, this feels so familiar. I know we're going to be friends. I really like you. And you don't understand how or why that connection happens. And thank you. I'm seeing some of the comments. I love this subject too. But you know then that you're going to just basically have a connection. And that's our own intuition coming in. And I hope everybody's experienced that sometime. It can also be the negative sort of influence or the negative emotion that you're feeling when you see someone. Either I need to run in the opposite direction, or this person is trouble, the situation is trouble. We've learned from our past maybe lessons or experiences with that person that we should run the other direction. So when you're asking for a soulmate, the reason I'm bringing all this up, you want to be very careful about this, because just because you're going to fall in love with a soulmate doesn't mean that it's going to be blessed and perfect, and that this is going to be the end-all and be-all. You should be very specific when you're calling in a soulmate, because you could be calling in a teacher rather than a partner or a divine partner. So with a soulmate, you really want to think about, I'm looking for someone with whom I have a great experience in the past, and in this life we can continue to help, to cherish, to encourage one another. So that could be part of your meditation. If you just say, I want to find my soulmate now, it's too generic. And so I think that's one of the things when we're looking at dating, when we're looking at marriage, we really want to understand that the soul connection, the soulmate, it's all around us. So when you say you haven't found your soulmate, I think you're talking about your divine partner, or perhaps your twin flame, or the love of your life. Any of these could be a soulmate, but they don't have to be. The other really interesting thing when we look at soulmates is, at some point in our past, except for that initial soul cluster with whom we originally sort of started out, there were people that we met for the first time. And so now in this life, they're soulmates. But we took a chance then. And so just because you don't have a soul connection with another human being does not mean that they're not worth getting to know, that they're not worth loving, that they're not worth marrying. It just means that you haven't had the chance to love, to meet, to understand them before. And so think about that, because I hear sometimes people who are in really great relationships, and just because they don't feel a super deep soul connection, they feel like they've missed out on something. Perhaps this life was all about creating that special bond, and then in future lives you'll have much more to connect with. So just something to think about, because soulmate is only talking about either a promise or a karmic connection in a past life. It is not a divine partner always, and it isn't always going to be a perfect relationship. Let's talk a little bit about twin flame, and then we'll maybe bring how all of this can kind of help you in your day-to-day friendships, relationships, and marriages, because I know that's really how we all want to understand how it's going to work. So twin flames, when I was a kid, I really didn't hear a lot about it. I think it's sort of entered the mainstream now. In the past, maybe, I don't know, 15 years, you've heard a little bit more about it, maybe more like 5 or 10 years. But a twin flame is something much, much deeper than a soul connection. Sometimes it's twin ray, there's different words for this, but here's my understanding of it from my own perspective. We talked about that initial understanding with a soulmate that, wow, I recognize you, I feel a connection. Sometimes you sense the positive and negative. With the twin flame, you usually get warnings years in advance. Or if you happen to stumble upon a twin flame unexpected, again, from my experience in my reading, it's usually not unexpected, but if you do, it's going to be such a moment of recognition that it almost sort of knocks the wind out of you. But for many of us, myself included, you may have dreams about meeting a future partner. You could dream about where they live, if they're married or not married, if they have children or don't have children. You might hear their voice, see their face. And this could happen over a period of 10, 15, 20 years in advance of meeting the person, because your soul wants to prepare you for the energy and the opportunity that is a twin flame. And so it's a very profound opportunity when and if it does happen. And it doesn't happen for everyone. A lot of times twin flames are in the spiritual realm. And actually most of our lives, one twin is on the planet, one twin is in the ethers helping. And so when you're both basically in the physical realm at the same time, very unique, and it can also be overwhelming for people. So not everyone's ready for a twin flame relationship, which is why it isn't happening for everyone. And that doesn't make you any less or more important than other people if you're experiencing it. The most important relationship is your relationship with your soul, your soul's journey. And the closer you get to that, the easier it's going to be when you bring in your divine partner, whether she or he is a soulmate or not, or a twin flame or not. And so this is something to think about. Again, I'm hoping the whole purpose of this video today, which is a sort of, I have some note cards and I'm kind of talking open and free form here, but it's to make everyone feel a little bit better and a little less critical of where you're at in your own process of finding happiness or finding relationships, because again, it all comes back to you. So with the twin flame, a couple of things to think about as well. How and where does the twin flame come from? From the research that I've done, there's two things. One, when we look back at the beginning, when we were sort of all these energetic beings deciding to take on a physical experience so that we could learn, so that we could teach, so that we could laugh, so that we could cry. The twin flames are basically two equal parts of the same energy, divine masculine, divine feminine, or opposing or sort of complementary forces, basically. And the energy sort of separates and decides to live lives and learn things throughout those lives. And then at the end of the journey, or at a pivotal stage before the next level of ascension, the energy comes back together. And so this is why inexplicable things like, telepathic situations or shared dreams or hearing, smelling, or feeling even the person there when they're not there, and you may be separated by, 3,000, 5,000 miles. That's why all that stuff can happen, because it is basically a part of yourself. So you have this shorthand with a twin flame. Now, sometimes with soulmates, we have a very deep connection too, and you can have some of the same telepathic feelings or precognition before the event happens. You know you're going to meet them, but it's usually not as intense. So again, with the twin flame, how do you know is it soulmate versus twin flame? Twin flame, you're going to dream, feel, hear, think, know that this person is coming in years in advance. And even if they speak another language or they're from another country, or there's a radical sort of shift in culture or age, because usually it's inconvenient. Something happens where you need to have separation, you need to have distance. And so a lot of times twin flames will meet when they're in relationships, happy relationships sometimes, and sometimes they will meet when there's a very difficult barrier. Again, maybe it's immigration, maybe it's political or religious beliefs that are going to challenge one another. So the sooner you can kind of open up your heart, open up your mind, and resolve some of those differences, the easier it's going to be to sort of coexist with that twin flame when they come in. How do you get closer to being happier and being in some of these relationships? It all begins with you. And if we kind of go back to looking at where you're at in your life at the moment and why you're thinking that either you need to have a relationship, you're lonely, or you want this sort of deep connection, that's going to be what will either repel or attract the divine relationships that you're looking for. So my advice usually in one-on-ones too is to sort of look at you at the moment. So if there's tension in a marriage, or if there's tension in your life and you're wondering like, why am I not meeting the right person, or why do I keep calling in the same situations? It usually means that there's some level of healing that needs to be done on your own soul level and on your own heart level first. And that can actually be what's pushing you away from your partner. So that's something to think about. And again, not be so critical of yourself and defining yourself solely by being with somebody else. Because again, we decided at the beginning to sort of separate and go an independent path. There is a lot to be learned alone. And then when you're ready, and almost when you're not looking for it, we'll talk later in a different video, perhaps next month, about the law of detachment. Because when it comes to love, think of it as a flower or very small, like a bird or an animal. If you hold on too tight, you sort of like squeeze out the life. But if you give it room and give it opportunity to breathe or come to you, then that's when it sort of naturally begins to happen without you having to focus so much on it or feeling defeated because it's not happening. So taking a deep breath, understanding that you're exactly where you need to be right now. You've called in exactly the types of relationships that you need. This is all part of the divine plan. Even, I would actually not say even, especially the difficult relationships. So your ex-boyfriend or girlfriend, your friends that have disappointed you or gotten into terrible arguments with you, the coworker who does crazy things to you. All of these things were actually blessings and tests and gifts to help you release patterns in your life. And so when we start to forgive, release, and understand all of those difficult relationships, then the easier ones will come in. But we have to first sort of look at the most dysfunctional, the most uncomfortable relationships in our life, and also some of the shadow aspects of our own personality, because really that's what these people are starting to come into your life to do, is to wake you up and help you look into the mirror. And maybe not always like everything that you're seeing, but that's when the healing begins, when you realize that it's okay. You know, this is just part of, it's all part of God's energy, light and shadow. And so what you really want to do when you see the shadow in your life is to heal it, to help basically help it ascend and bring it into the light. And then again, that's when things start to get a little bit easier. So I'm going to pause. And since we're doing Facebook Live, is there any questions about anything that I've said so far? And for those of you on YouTube, I will read the questions and you'll be able to sort of hear the Q&A. Okay, so what similarities does a twin flame have with you in personalities, experiences, beliefs, or soul purpose? Okay, so, and this comes from Charlotte. So Charlotte, a lot of times your twin flame, as I said earlier, could be very, very different from you. And that's sort of the thing that's unexpected. You will still have an attraction towards that twin flame because, again, it's the same energy. There's something about them. It may even be inexplicable. You think, why am I attracted to you? You're completely opposite my type. This isn't what I want. It doesn't make sense. And again, sometimes you either just got into a relationship or a marriage, or you just got out of one and you're not ready for it. So the timing could be off. That's one thing that you could recognize, but the similarity doesn't have to exist. What you're going to recognize, though, is a sense of safety, unconditional love, an attraction that sort of transcends your logic or your situation. And so I would say don't expect them to be either from your own community or a cookie cutter version of yourself. They could be the antithesis of what you're looking for. And that's the sort of curious thing with the twin flame. So any other questions about twin flames or soulmates? It looks like no. So I'm going to, I'll try to wrap all of these threads together, and hopefully in the future, I may allow for some questions ahead of time so that I can take this opportunity to answer them. I'm probably going to finish up with a few cards as well, since we just got through a big lunar event and we're in the new year and first month of the year. So I want to make sure that everybody has a chance to sort of do a little bit of healing today too. I think that would probably be the best thing, is what we could do to bring in healing and call in our divine partner. So for those of you that joined late, and I see there's a few, welcome. And I'll try to announce this in the future so that you're not joining late, but sometimes I want to do a spontaneous video like this just because I think it's great. So we were talking earlier today about soulmates and how reincarnation plays a role in the soulmate connection, and what twin flames are and how they differ. So just to summarize for those that joined late, soulmates and reincarnation, that's really tied together. Think of it as this is like school and graduation. You basically are with a class, a group of souls, through several lifetimes until you've learned all the lessons that you need to learn, and then you sort of all ascend to the next level or decide to take on new roles, new experiences together. Twin flames, much deeper. It's usually a part of your own energy, either one that's been separated at some point, or again, it's a recognition of something that's very core to you. We talked about at the beginning, there could be two like yin and yang forces that separate, and over several lives, possibly in two different soul collections, live, accumulate knowledge and karma and understanding and wisdom, and then eventually come back together when they've resolved most of the karma and are usually ready to teach. So twin flames are usually teachers. Often one is spiritual, sometimes one is more practical or scientific, but they're there to bring healing and understanding and awakening to the world. And so to call in your divine partner, really what you have to do is connect to your divine purpose. So if you're in a job or a life situation that doesn't resonate with what you want to do, what your heart is telling you to do, the closest way you can bring in love is to start doing what you love, start feeling love and happiness in your life. And so then whether you're either supposed to bring in a twin flame or a soulmate, or you're simply supposed to experience more of a, sorry, the video paused there. I think it may have ended and I may have to restart the live stream here. Can you guys still hear me? Looks like you can. Okay, so whether or not you still have karma together that you need to resolve or not, yay, thank you, Cecilia. You need to simply focus on resolving your own karma. So let's now reset a little bit. Sorry, I got distracted with Facebook Live. It is nice, but it's not the most effective technology here. I promised I was going to do a little bit of tarot here, which I know we all like. And so let's look at what we can do to heal ourselves the most and get us closer to our divine partnership. So everybody right now, I think we could also meditate for 1 second, because we have a few hundred people live right now, which is good. That's a lot of psychic energy to bring in at the same time, and we could all benefit from that. So if you could close your eyes for a moment. I usually do this meditation with my clients. I think it'll be good to do with everybody here. We're going to take 3 deep breaths. And for the first breath, I just want you to call attention to something in your life that you either feel uncomfortable, critical, or ashamed of. And what we're going to do is send healing to that. And as you breathe in, and you can follow the sound of my breath, I want you to feel like you're calling in the collective love from this group of people that's meditating right now, and heal that part of yourself. And when you exhale, I want you to just release the sadness, the pain, and the discomfort. So a nice deep inhale together. Hold that for a moment, allow that energy to come in, allow that healing to take place. And again, as you exhale, I want you simply to let go. Let go of the thoughts in your head. Let go of any of the discomfort that might exist in your body. And allow yourself to be a little bit lighter, a little bit freer, and a little less critical. Start thinking kinder thoughts of yourself. With the next breath, I want you to call back energy that you've given to people in your life. Perhaps it was through a breakup, a disappointment, something where maybe someone took something from you and you're thinking about them. There's anger, there's resentment, there's frustration. Because what you're basically doing inadvertently is hooking into them or allowing them to hook into you. And so with this breath, think of yourself as a gigantic magnet. And through intention alone, through believing that you can pull that energy back into your body, you're going to do it. So I want you to place that person, place, or thing in front of you and bless it. And then as you inhale, gently pull in the energy that you've given to it, whatever the thought energy is, anger, hate, frustration, or just obsessive thoughts about it. So let's make this a very deep and deliberate inhale. And before you exhale, think of that person and imagine that as you exhale, they're like a feather and you're going to just simply push them out to the horizon. So inhale again if you need to. And as you exhale, Allow them to go further and further away. Feel their connection to you, the anger, the frustration that you might have had, also dissipate. Allow the healing to begin, basically. This is something you can continue on your own tonight, anytime you'd like to. Breathing is a really powerful way to move prana in your body. With this last breath, because I said we were going to do 3, I want this to be to call in the type of partnership that's going to bring you the best love, the best opportunity. And really, you're not looking for a teacher, you're looking for someone who's really going to call in the best parts of yourself. So that divine partner, not a teacher. So imagine some of the qualities of what you're looking for, not just a soulmate, not just a twin flame, let's call it a divine partner. Feel for a moment that that divine partner is close to you, closer than you think, closer in both, just sort of symbolically, and then also closer to your heart. And as you inhale, feel that you're bringing that potential, that future into being. You're going to actually bring it into your body. And as you exhale, you're going to let go of needing to understand or needing to control the timing. Because that's the biggest mistake a lot of us make is, when is it going to happen? 6 months, 1 year, 2 years, I need to know now. Let's let that go. Let's allow for the proper cosmic situation to basically align to your life situation. And I want you to feel free to repeat this meditation if you need. I'm going to post it to YouTube later today because I'm recording it on my computer. So you can listen to this part of it if you need to. And really think and feel about what you want to bring into your life and allow the breath to be the mechanism that brings it in. Focus less on needing to see it, feel it, have it be here right now. You want to sort of just let the universe know that you're ready, but not basically grab and pull it into you. It doesn't work that way. Think of things as in a more of a, like, not astrology, but like astronomy, the sun and orbits. Things have basically gravity is going to pull things around in a determined orbit, and there are certain sort of milestones in your life that are determined like that. You can also control the gravity of your thoughts. So if we make the gravity more of, I am ready, I am willing, I am deserving, that is like the sun. When you say, I need, I want, I must, make it happen now, that's more of a repellent force, so that's pushing. So I want you to go higher and allow yourself to sort of pull the gravity in. You're not going to get that exact number. No amount of intuition or psychic clairvoyance is going to give you exact dates and times. But what you can do is make yourself better, and that's the guarantee. That's the way to make it happen faster. Okay? So now, as promised, I'm going to shuffle the deck, and because I'm doing Facebook Live, I can't turn the camera down yet. I need to get a different setup for that. But I'm going to pull 3 cards. I'm not going to do a full Celtic cross. I'm just going to pull 3, and we're going to look at past influences that are causing blocks for all of us right now, present situations or opportunities that could allow for the healing or the partnerships to happen faster, and a little inkling of what's around the corner for us, so we'll see what the future influences are. I'm going to use the number 11 to pull the first card, because we're in a year, I believe that adds up to that. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. So the past influence here is the 3 of Swords. And it's 3 of Swords reversed. And I rather like this particular illustration of the 3 of Swords because what this is about, when I see it actually, is coming home. Okay? And when you meet that divine partner that many of you are hoping to have, or maybe some of you are in those relationships, this is saying the number one thing that you need to do is to heal your heart first, because in the normal Rider-Waite deck, it's a heart with 3 swords in it. This one is about, before you can come home, before you can call that divine love that I was talking about back to you, this has to heal. And so this month, I want you to pick like one of those shadow aspects that we talked about. It can be something that you don't want to talk about to anybody. So maybe it's an addictive quality in your life. Maybe it's about food, it's about drugs, or maybe it's a self-confidence thing. Maybe you don't like something either about the way you think, or about the way you look, or about the way you've treated people. Just pick one thing this month and see that shadow element or that sort of thing that you don't like and bless it. And I want you to sit, like we did that meditation earlier. You can use that same sort of exercise, and when you see it and you're breathing, I want you to breathe light into it. And I want you to, basically, we're going to push away the fog or push away the mist. And so with each inhale, you can sweep light around you, light, insight, and understanding. And as you exhale, you're basically going to clear out the shadow, because shadows actually want to be healed. We use a lot of different words in Western civilization for shadows. Sometimes we'll use the word, I really dislike demon. It's something I don't like. I think it's all part of God. It's a shadow element. So what you want to do is look at your inner shadows and bring light to them. Think of it as a flashlight. And so we're going to shine the light on that one thing that you don't like, and think about why it is you don't like it. Is it because somebody told you that you weren't this enough or that enough? Or is it because you're too critical and you're the only voice that's saying this? Whoever said it, whether it's you or someone else, I want you to sort of turn the volume down on that and just look at it from like a bird's eye view, or literally take a picture or look in the mirror and see it from a different angle, and just allow yourself to entertain the possibility that it's not as bad as you think, or that you're not as bad as you think, or that the healing is possible, probable, and it's on its way. Do this for a month, and I think you're going to start to feel a beautiful transformation in your mind, in your body, and you're also going to realize that we're never really a victim to the darkness around us. The minute you sort of start to bless it, shine light on it, and forgive it, it will either ascend or go away. If it doesn't want the healing, it will absolutely, that's how you chase the monsters from under your bed. You have to actually turn on the light, look at it, and bless it. And the more you do that, the more it will then go away. It's when you are afraid to look at the monster that it exists, that it gets bigger, and that it gets out of control. Okay? So know that you are always in control. Know that the shadow, the monster, whatever you want to call it, it actually wants to be healed, and it's seeking your love and attention. When you give it love, it's unexpected, and that's actually what's going to transmute it. Okay? Let's look at the present influences that are either helping or hindering you. And I'm just going to randomly pull for this. Okay, so I love the Fool card, and I also like the way it's illustrated in this deck, which is the Green Man. It's a card of growth, prosperity, newness, and being in January, which is named after Janus, the basically beginnings and endings, or the two-faced god. It's about looking not only in the past, but also where you want to be. Be as aspirational as you can with your thoughts and relationships. Not just about who you are, but also who you could be with. Who you were with in the past and who you're with now does not define who you're always going to be with. And so allow this playfulness both in your meditation and in your ability to, I guess, just be open-minded. Allow that to happen. Sometimes we get too rigid in our thoughts, and it's unnecessary. The other thing that comes with the Green Man or with the Fool card is literally be playful. So having fun. The way you're more apt to meet someone is through an activity that brings you true happiness and joy. So whether that is, going to see independent movies, or playing with your dog at the park, or deciding to take up a class to learn photography or pottery or a foreign language. Don't do it because you're expecting to have the partner. Just do it because you want to have fun, but know that that activity, that joy in your life, can somewhere else bring in the partner, because you're going to resonate at a higher frequency. Play. Children understand this, but we forget this as adults. But play is actually integral to being successful. And I think that sometimes the older we get, the more we think we have to just be productive all the time. Where if we can just sort of laugh, giggle, or do something that brings us absolute joy with no particular purpose, that's the key to basically, if you want a shortcut on how to raise your frequency, have more joy in your life. Laugh, do something kind for someone. Laughter or tears, as long as it's coming from a good-hearted place, that's going to raise your frequency. Okay, so that's the message for right now. Is either bring joy to yourself, and if you feel you can't do that for some reason, do some sort of service where you bring joy to others, because you're still going to get back from that. All right, let's look at the future influence, which is what's going to happen. What's the whole purpose of this? Why are some of you needing or even tuning in today? Why are you here? So for the future influence and the future potential, we have temperance here. But I like the way this temperance card is illustrated, because it sort of reminds me more of the star, or it reminds me more of a magician or sorceress card here, because this is about being a little bit more even. Okay, so really what is temperance? It's not overreacting and not underreacting. It's a basically neutrality, which is what you try to do in yoga, actually, in meditation. You try to quiet your mind, quiet your thoughts, quiet even your sort of the experiences in your body and your subtle body. So what I'd like for you guys to do looking into February is find ways to even out your reactions to situations, because the more even you are, the more calm you are, and the less anxious, or if you're not always having anxiety about your love situation, for instance, since we were talking about that, all of a sudden it's easier for people to be around you. Because when you think about it, maybe again when we were back in school and we wanted to pick the lunch table to sit at, you try to find the one where people are sort of laughing and having a good time, not the ones where they're sort of looking angry and wondering why people aren't coming over. And so it's very much the same when we're older. If we're just relaxed, it's easier for people to be around us. And that divine partner, when they come next to you, or as they're starting to sort of orbit, because we talked about the orbits, as their orbit gets closer, there's no tension that's going to shift them out of your orbit. They just see that you're at peace, you're having fun, and you've forgiven yourself. That's really what we got from these three cards. Forgiveness, enjoyment, and peace. So those are your messages for how to call in or get closer to calling in your divine partner. And for the sake of today's discussion, let's stop worrying about if they're a soulmate or a twin flame. You'll call them in if you're supposed to. And if you are, great. And if you don't, that doesn't make you any less evolved or any less important. It just means that in this life, you have different things that you've prioritized, because you were the one that wrote your curriculum for this lifetime. So you're not ahead or behind. You're exactly on track. You just have to start doing the lessons again. So I hope this was helpful, and I hope basically all we could hope, this was a 101. Maybe it was even like a 100. It wasn't even a 101. We were just talking a little bit about reincarnation, soulmates and twin flames, because there's a lot of misunderstandings about this. And I was talking to one of my intuitive friends, and we both admitted, we're still figuring that out too. But based on my experiences, I've given you a little bit of an inkling of what it feels like to sort of discern between what's a soulmate, what's a twin flame, and who's someone that I just like, and there's nothing wrong if you don't have that soul connection. So anyway, I hope this was helpful, and in the future, I'll try to allow for a little bit more of Q&A, but I really appreciate all the support, and I can see all the little hearts and likes, so thank you so much. Really, really nice to see you, and hopefully have a little bit more of a casual conversation today. Sorry about the technical glitch in the middle. I'll get this figured out sooner or later. Happy New Year to those of you that didn't see my Happy New Year video earlier, and I'll be back next month with our star sign readings, okay? Take care of yourselves, and have a great day.